We going?
We are recording.
All right. So then the rabbi says, Mole, I thought you said you was a moil.
Well done, sir. Happy birthday, Mel Brooks.
That's right.
Been 100 years old.
Hello, legions, one and all, and welcome once again to another exciting episode of the What You Been Watching podcast. I am, as always, your host, the marvelous Mike D, joined by my co-host, cohort, and youngest brother,
MD3, Marcus Dudley, checking in on the YOU. What is going on out there in podcast land? We are broadcasting live from the Think Tank Studios right here in central Tallahassee, Florida. How are you doing today, my brother?
I'm doing pretty good, man. It's been a rainy afternoon, so we got to just hang out and watch movies with the kids and kind of do inside activities. There was a lot of colorings, a lot of drawings being made, and maybe a tea party or two.
Dude, that sounds like a great time.
I'm not complaining. So, yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, dude. Sometimes it's the little things from the little ones, you know.
Yeah. You know,
anyway, so I'll
when they're not being absolute little shit monsters, you know.
Yeah, they're fully capable of that, bro.
Oh, believe me, we had that today too. There was a meltdown that was difficult to navigate, but you okay? Do we need to?
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay.
You
seem antsy.
No, I am. Zero sugar soda.
It's my fifth one.
Yeah, no, this is just not usually the chair I sit in, so I'm trying to not cream of the crop. If you, by the way, ongoing joke, you'll pick up on it. But if you watch the Macho Man, I was picking on Michael a little bit, and he was like about talking to the mic straight or whatever, and I was just hard sometimes.
And then I start to lean back, start to drift off a little bit,
and Michael just looked at me and went, "Cream of the crop." Anyways, but yeah, man, it sounds like you had a good day.
Yeah. How about yourself?
I've been pretty good, and I'm gonna lower this back down. I've been good, man. I've been good. Just busy, driving a lot. Just driving. I feel like it's all I do is drive, and drive some more. It's soothing to the little one, so
gotta keep Princess happy.
Yeah, dude. So, but other than that, man, just trying to just one foot in front of the other, my guy. Been watching, a summer movie. I actually gave myself a break from going to the theaters.
Finally.
Yeah. The only thing that came out was Monsters and Minions, which they started to do sensory-friendly shows here in town on Sundays. So I may end up going to go catch that just kind of as an experiment with, as you guys know, we're very, very friendly to the handy-capable here at What You Been Watching. Cause very dear to our heart, pulls on the heartstrings. So, so I may try to go do that, but there was nothing really that I do eventually need to see Backrooms. I do eventually need to see Obsession. Yeah. But there's so much coming out this year. And I'm just like, if I can get a week off of just being like, you know what? You don't have to go to the movies. Yeah. So especially I went twice last week, back to back. So it's like, all right, I saw Jackass and we're not to date the podcast, but we'll talk about Supergirl. But yeah.
Yeah. So, Liz had a random day off. Like she was getting ready for work and they just called her up and was like, hey, we got nothing going on today. Have the day off. And so she had already planned on going to work. And so she was already in that mindset. And I love her, but she doesn't do very well when plans change, especially when she's already got in her head of like how her day is going to go. So she's just at home going like, I don't know what to do with my hands. And there's all this free time. I was like, hey, sweetie, how about you go, I don't know, take a nap, have a nice long bath, read your book, and she's just like, well, no, I mean, those are all good ideas, but like, we got to do something. I was like, okay, we could go to a movie. And so like, I start naming all the movies of like what's playing. She's like, no. I'm just like, okay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm just like, okay, sweetie, why don't you break it down dummy style for me? Why don't you tell me what you want to do? And she's like, I want to eat popcorn and watch a movie. I was like, done and done. Let's do this. Yeah. So went to the store, got her some popcorn and some M&Ms and some snack foods. Yeah, I try to be,
nice.
She, I'm the type.
We're quick to bail.
It's just on anything. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to play.
Oh, that's not going to work. Cool. I didn't want to do that shit anyway.
No, you're canceling.
Yeah. So I was trying to roll with the punches, and she was very much in the mindset of like, but you don't understand. I already had my day planned out, and now nothing's going according to plan.
Some people, I get it. Some people would just.
It's not her fault. I mean,
it's just a different wiring. Yeah. It's not. You're not making fun of her.
No.
I mean,
maybe a little bit.
Yeah, dude, I really enjoyed movie trivia, Moxie.
What you been watching? We'll be right back while Marcus spoils a future episode.
But it gave me a reason that I'm going to go watch The Pest again. So
nice.
I was like, when I didn't do as well on The Pest as I thought I would, I was right there with a lot of them. Like when you asked me about the books, I got 2 of the 3. There was enough that I was like, okay, I still know the movie really well.
Right. But like a refresher course. It's like, rereading the classics or something like that.
But I can't talk that shit about The Pest like I used to, which I'm still on a level of Chappelle Show, which nobody's on. And even if I haven't seen it in a long time, until you start saying quotes that I don't know, it's like, nah.
Right.
Like, nah.
But I mean, you're pulling from like the B-sides on season 3 where it's like, oh, nobody saw that. And Marcus is like, I did. Fell asleep, did it on DVD every night.
Every night for a year straight.
Can't tell you how many times I would wake up in the morning and like the DVD would still be playing. And so I'd just be getting like eat my cereal and all I would hear was just Chappelle's Show on a loop, or either that or The Simpsons, like at the, at the chapter menu or whatever. It's just dun, dun, dun,
or
dun,
it would do the same. Like I remember, you're a Homer right there. And they would have like a little animated thing where it would be on a loop and you'd see like some comical would happen and Homer would, oh, dope, and he'd get hit in the head with something, and then Sideshow Bob would, and get hit with a rake, and that would repeat for 6 hours, however long you were asleep.
That's right.
The worst is when the DVDs, man, I miss them a lot, which more on that. Thanks,
Here's to you, physical media. We remember you fondly.
Yeah, dude, you're still the best. But yeah, it was the time we threw a party. We were like, oh, let's watch Family Guy. And it was, everyone's falling asleep. And it's fine when it's playing. But then I remember this girl woke up and it was louder than anything. It's like back in the day on TV or whatever, you'd be sleeping and you'd be like, pardon me for those about to blow out your ears or whatever. You hear like, on this special CD collection, Luther Vandross. And it was that, but with the Family Guy thing, and she just came and was like, oh, it's like shut that shit down. And there's been countless mornings in which that happened, where she just roll over and hit play, and like Chappelle was like, Chappelle Show, better not bring your kid, and it was different takes of them dancing and stuff. So yeah, there's many a days that it was just turn that down.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyways, but no, I saw this. I love the Movie Trivia Moxie episodes, man. They're fun to do, and we got them planned out for the next 300 years.
That's right. We're just sitting here coming up with sequel titles and stuff.
Movie
it was
Trivia
great.
Moxie 300. This is Sparta. There'll be one episode every single year you can bank on.
That's it. Yeah. I don't know if the Bracket Busters is going to make it much longer, but at least we got Movie Trivia Moxie.
We might just do a 32 round at that point. Like, I don't know, man. I can't watch 64 movies anymore. Or they're going to start to overlap where it's like once our talking points become the same on the same, like, we said this exact, it's a different category, but we said this exact same thing when we talked about best movies in the 90s, best performance by an actor. Like, all right, let's retire it for a little bit. So, but yeah, anyways.
We're running out of juice, guys. This is our desperate plea to you.
Yeah, write us in at what you been watching podcast at gmail.com. Just give us your suggestions on, anyways. Also, we're really close to 500 subscribers on YouTube. At WBW Podcast. Check us out there. We're really close to 500 subscribers. I made a promise a long time ago that when we get to 500 subscribers, I'm going to do a giveaway.
Ooh.
So I'm not sure exactly the rules yet, but let's get to 500 first, and then I will keep my word.
Are you giving away your black cherry?
What?
You know what it is. Think about it.
Okay, it took me a minute. No, we won't be going that far.
Oh, well,
no,
I tried.
It'll be a super rad package from the Super Rad Committee, which is now made up of 2 people.
That's right.
Michael's actually, he earned his way on the committee pretty quick.
Did I now?
Yeah, no. Okay. I was only on it 1 year or the first prize package by myself.
Right.
After that, I was like, I'll handle this. Don't try coming in here with some bullshit.
You're giving away an open bag of M&Ms? What the fuck?
We're still good.
So. How you gonna give away KFC with all the skin picked off? That's fucked up.
Give you a movie certificate to a movie that's not even in your theater. You're like, it's great. Don't have a Regal here.
Awesome. That's right.
It's Regal 120 miles away. Congratulations.
That's right. Well, road trip. That's your prize. You get a road trip.
I safeguard things.
You get to spend $80 in gas.
But the movie's free. Let's get there. It's only $10. Like, I can't even pay for the movie. Yep. So we had to prevent that. anyways, man. But yeah, now reach out at let's see here. Yeah, you know our socials. On Instagram at What You Been Watching.
That's right.
On Facebook at Dudley Bros Podcast.
That's right.
On the YouTubes I mentioned at WBW Podcast.
Indeed.
On the Gmails at What You Been Watching Podcast at gmail.com. Shout out to Mr. A1. That dude sent me, I can't even tell you. It's just for me, but that shit, man, every once in a while you just get a beat or something that like captures the moment of where you are. And again, it was like I had this really cool thing happen, and then I look into my, I finally get to my phone or whatever because I was distracted. I get into there and Big Homie sent me a beat and I played it, and it just captured the essence of that moment of what I needed to hear at that time. It was like I just rode just like, oh man. So
good deal.
He still got it, I'm telling you. So reach out to him, a1reality.music@gmail.com. The man's got the flavors for you. Shout out to Ketsa Always Bright. And on that note, we bring you the show.
That's it.
So yeah, man. Anything else out of you, my brother?
No, man. I think that about covers it. The summer months are heating up, and it's time to cool our icy hearts with a tropical island song.
You can't. First off, you have to freeze your hot heart with a cool island song.
No, we're trying to warm our icy heart with a tropical breeze. Wait,
this debate brought to you by Tropicana. Anyways, well, my brother, the reason people tune out every single episode, my brother, what you been watching, as the shirt so implies, and yours is in so much better condition than mine. That shit was haggard, bro.
It's all right.
Anyways, I'll print more.
That's right. I reserve mine for the special occasions.
Yeah, I wear my shit on the regular.
That's right.
That's right. Anyways.
Just saw, or I should say, rewatched the Rankin and Bass HOBBIT.
Okay. This is in, it's a form of steady rotation, I feel like, amongst our life and just since the inception of the show.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those. I think the first time I saw it, they played it. You know how like in elementary school, like if it was a rainy day or a thunderstorm or something, they would come in and bring in the old like reel-to-reel projector. And yeah, exactly.
Or the fucking TV on a box.
No, not even that. I mean, they literally bring like the drop-down screen. It was literally like the reel-to-reel projector. Yeah. So I think the first time I saw this movie was during that, and I just fell in love with it because I was into like swords and sorcery and like fantasy stuff, like even from that age, so like, and I had never heard of the Hobbit. This was literally my gateway into the Tolkien world.
Yeah.
So rewatched it, man. It still holds up. I think it's the best Hobbit movie that they've ever made.
It certainly is the most palatable.
I mean, it basically takes a whole book and condenses it down to like what, 78 minutes?
I think it's like 70. Yeah. It's pretty in and out, but I don't feel like, I mean, you're losing a lot of detail, but like the overall story and the plot points, like you're not missing that much.
Right.
You pretty much got the meat and potatoes of it.
Yeah. They pretty much hit all the they hit all the benchmarks pretty much.
And they include the songs, which seems superfluous in their own right, but not really. And when they kind of squeeze them in the way they do.
Chip the glasses, crack the plates. That's what Bilbo Baggins hates. That's what Bilbo Baggins hates. So carefully with the plates.
Nice work.
Thank you.
Nice work. You must have just watched that.
I did. It was
hell yeah. No, I mean, I know you. It was weird when you're a kid. You didn't know. You somehow knew who had possession of what. It was never a claim, but I just remember being a young brother and being like, "That's Michael's tape of The Hobbit."
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like the Superman ones got handed down to me, but I used to watch those a lot. I think those kind of became mine because y'all were done with them, and I was like, "The Superman tapes, the original dude." Speaking of which tapes, when he fucking grabs the two electric cords and does,
you're talking about the
Jerry Siegel,
Jerry Siegel,
whatever it is. Yeah, when he grabs like some of the best Superman iconography,
the electricity coursing through his body. Let's go.
But yeah, no. My question is we never owned an actual copy of The Hobbit.
No,
but here's my question though: is I just thought about this. We had a lot of tapes, and I know that a lot of them came from our dear grandmother who always hooked it up.
Right.
But I don't know who those I can account for, but there were some just as a kid that I was like, how did we get a copy of The Hobbit? Who bootlegged that for us?
I did.
I don't remember your handwriting being on the thing though.
Oh no,
I'm talking about the original one. I remember it was in a white sleeve.
Yeah,
I remember the one that you taped to have as a backup. I remember that one. Or did you rent that from Block?
No, I rented it from the library.
Word is bond.
And brought it over to grandma's house and had her bootleg it for me, and then took it home. It was her handwriting. Yeah. So, but I specifically requested because I saw that movie and was like, oh, I love this. And then, they would show it on like, Saturday morning cartoons, like late in the afternoon or something like that. Right. It would pop up every once in a while. And I just fell in love with it again and again and again. I was like, can we go to the library and rent that? And she was like, sure, sweetie, let's go. Hop in the car after my stories.
Yeah, that's what's up. No, yeah, because I always wondered. It just dawned on me. I'm like, wait a second. Who was, because I know a lot of them, like we had like, don't tell mom the babysitter's dead, stop or my mom will shoot, or my grandma, whatever the title is. Like bad.
Right. Adventures in Babysitting.
Yeah, we had a bunch of weird stuff that was like, I don't know where it came from.
Richie Rich, all that.
Yeah, and I know that some of those were, like I said, Ma hooking it up. But yeah, The Hobbit, I just realized, I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah, I specifically went to the library to try and track that tape down.
So Chris, high five on that. Hell yeah, bro. Anyways, go ahead. Sorry, it's a trip down memory lane, man.
Yeah. Guys, remember VHS tapes? Bro. Remember how great it was until the tape would foul up and you'd have to get that pencil in there and turn that.
But you could get another one. Like that was
and
that didn't burn the movie industry down. Like it was just, I don't know, man. If anything, you gain traction. Like,
well, think of how many movies flopped in theaters and then made a killing on VHS and like home sales. You know what I mean? Like, you look at Army of Darkness, that was, commercially a flop. And then all of a sudden it comes out on Betamax and VHS and everybody in their college dorm is watching Army of Darkness. And like, now how many of those were sales and how many of those were bootlegged, as we previously mentioned, who knows? But at least people were watching the movie, like you're building a cult following.
Right. Sam Raimi gained a lot of traction from that. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I know it's different in the fact of like directors don't go on tour. So I know like if you like tape the tape of your favorite artist or whatever, like, and then that person came to town, you're gonna be like, oh, well, I'm still gonna go see him on tour, but it was still just word of mouth. But I don't know, we're kind of this is gonna be a soapboxy episode. There's a movie we can't not get on our soapbox about just by nature of the movie we're gonna talk about.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah. But no, I when you put me on The Hobbit, that was one of my like of the house in terms of agreeable movies that we could all just put on and like, all three brothers be on board that one for sure. So any new thoughts on it or just still rules?
Just still rules. I think that this was Rankin and Bass at their peak. They had sort of had their heyday with the, the claymation and the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and all that good stuff, the Frosty the Snowman. Yeah. But then they really, really died out. And then kind of late 70s, they had a resurgence. And then that ended up leading to, like Don Bluth worked for them. And gosh, who else?
Howie Mandel and I'm just saying.
Yeah. It was me, it was Johnny Hopkins,
and Sloan Kettering.
We were sparking that shit up every day after school.
We were blazing that shit up. Shout out to the Step Brothers reference out of Michael.
That's right. Well so The Hobbit, I'm gonna give it a dragon's hoard worth of memories and not bad animation.
It was stylistic enough that even like the cells that aren't like fluid, the style is so dope that it almost kind of adds to it.
Yeah.
We need to have a button on here, like when we review it, and this movie still fucking rules. There's a lot of movies we revisit. Like, how's it hold up? This movie still it's like the first Mortal Kombat.
Still awesome.
Still rules. Like Starship Trooper. This still rules. Stargate. This still rules.
Oh yeah.
What was the one?
Get on your job and start making some buttons,
right? What
dude.
was the one, Natasha Henstridge, that you and Kayla was? Species? Natasha Henstridge, whatever. What was her name?
Was it Natasha Henstridge?
This movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Species. Yeah.
Still rules.
Where she goes around and gets naked and tries to get impregnated by human dudes. Yeah, I remember that one.
Heavy metal. This still rules. Yeah, that's gonna be a new. We got to get that button, anyways.
Still waiting on that hater ass Huey button.
I got it. I just need time and energy. Look, I get it done. It just takes me a while.
That's right. On your own pace. I've
been bad, man. I've been the not punctual one recently. I've been talking a lot of shit for somebody not picking up. I'll be like, look, I got us the video. We're good for the next 6 years. I promised that for 4. But here we are. Here we are.
Yeah.
In color and everything. With shirts, might I add.
That's right. That's right.
No, we don't keep a running tab, man. It's a group effort here.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. Exactly.
So, anyways, yeah, cool, man. The Hobbit.
And then let's see. After that, speaking of animation, just finished watching the very first episode of the new season of X-Men '97.
I got to get on that, man. I'm slipping in my superhero stuff.
I got to admit, I don't think you're missing a lot with the first episode. It's a lot of just setup, especially so. This picks up immediately where season 1 left off. So there's 2 X-Men teams and they've been split in time.
There's 3, I thought. One in the past with Sabah Nur, one in the future with Cable, and then there's one currently in '97, right?
Yeah, I think it's just Jubilee and Sunspot are in the present time. Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's the X-Men have been fractured throughout time, and the first episode really focuses on the future team. It's just a lot of setup in terms of like we learn who pulled the X-Men out of time and why they did it. Basically, Mother Ascani pulls them out of time.
Who is Mother Ascani?
So in the X-Men lore, she is the woman that ran the clan of rebels that raised Cable when Scott Summers and Jean Grey sent their son into the future.
That's right.
And so she pulls the X-Men out of the present day and scatters them across time, one to the ancient past to try and stop the rise of Apocalypse in Sabah Nur, and then one in the height of his
the age of Apocalypse.
Yeah, the age of Apocalypse, basically, in order to try and end his timeline, basically, so that like he could never resurrect, he could never bring forth another like challenge, basically.
Right.
And so we learned that, and then so it basically just it's establishing the time travel rules. Forge and Bishop have a conversation about why they're splitting up and why they have to do what they have to do and how the time bands work and stuff like that. So it's a lot of establishment stuff. There's action, but it's punctuated. It almost feels like it's thrown in terms of like, okay, every 4 to 6 minutes we got to have an action sequence. It's only a like 30-minute episode, and so like every 4 to 6 minutes you got to throw in some action, and it just kind of feels a little bit shoehorned. There is a really cool action sequence where they're trying to get on basically like a Apocalypse is like light rail train. It's traveling at like Mach 3, and if it reaches a certain point, then it's the point of no return, and they can never make this plan again, basically, kind of thing. So there is that kind of aspect. They throw in the ticking time bomb kind of trope. But yeah, it's a lot of setup, and I have a feeling that episode 2 is going to be very much the same, but just on the past side. So I'm really looking forward to like probably episode 3 or 4 where they actually start bringing people together.
As long as they pay off the setup, I don't mind. That's
Yeah,
where I'm at personally.
Yeah,
I thought the previous season was one of the best Marvel projects they've ever done. All movies, all everything. Not the best, but one of, in my opinion.
I mean, just this episode, was it 8 or 6?
5 with Gambit.
Yeah. Remember it?
Yeah. Yeah. No, he's awesome. He's my favorite.
So
no,
I've had it spoiled a little bit, and a lot of the online reviewers are saying that Jubilee kind of gets the Gambit treatment in this.
I've heard similar things.
All for it, man. Like
she was underrated.
I agree, and she's been a stalwart X-Men for, I mean, literally since the early '90s. But
she was my entry, outside of the comics from you, in terms of like any form of animated or live action or any moving X-Men, anything. It was like Jubilee was my entry point for like a generation of people.
Yeah, so. Literally episode 1 of the original series, it opens with Jubilee at the mall,
right? While
the X-Men are there trying to have a nice shopping day off, and then here comes Sentinels. What do we do now? I guess we activate our mutant powers.
Yeah, wreck shop. And I'm also taking these socks. Do something.
That's right. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't deserve a reward for stopping the giant marauding robot that wrecked your shop.
You mutie.
Yeah.
I would too. It's like Jay when he's like, do something. take these, do something.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But yeah, she was literally the entry point for this whole series. And so like to hear that she ends up getting her due diligence, I'm great. Let's go. I can't wait to see it.
They showed a bit of her, and I always like when they do this, when they kind of like showcase the potential power of mutants. When in the previous season, when she went to Mojo World, which was that whole sequence was a bit of a throwaway, but whatever, I don't mind a filler episode as long as it's entertaining.
Sure.
Like when she was like spinning the fireworks constantly around her arms, it was like the future version of herself had interjected or whatever. I was like, that's what I'm talking about.
There we go. Right.
Or like in the comics when I think it was Emma Frost, like went into Iceman's head and like turned him into water and then slid under a door and then like reconstituted everything. And he's like, how did I do that? And he's like,
she's like, you've always had the power.
Your
Dorothy.
power is like, I don't think that's why he's an Omega level mutant. It's like they don't even really know the scope of what he can do with water. Like,
right.
So, anyways, didn't mean to hijack that.
No, you're good. You're good.
I just like Jubilee, man. She's always cool as shit.
Yeah.
And like even then, like even in the X-Men arcade game, they just kind of made Dazzler Jubilee, which they didn't call us. So even then, it was like we all were just playing as Jubilee, even though we knew it was Dazzler. No, but I don't know. I like Jubilee a lot, man. She was also in what?
Generation X.
Generation X. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
So
one of the founding members, and then ended up becoming a teacher at the Xavier Institute. She was the NDoc professor. So like when you first get to school, she's the one that breaks down like, so here's the rules. Here's where you're going to be living. Right. Here's your training schedule. Here's your
orientation,
and whatnot, kind of thing. Yeah.
No, she's awesome. She have you seen the show Shrinking?
I have not, but you've told me about it. Yeah.
The actress, I forget her name, who plays Jason Segel's daughter, would be a great Jubilee.
Okay.
Yeah. And I know, so I don't know her. This is gonna sound. I don't mean this mean, but she looks it very much so. But like, I don't know. I know that Jubilee's supposed to be what, half Japanese, I believe, or something.
I believe half Chinese American.
Yeah, something. Yeah, but I don't know the actress's origin or whatever, but I'm sure it'll piss somebody off no matter what. But yeah, I think, I don't know, just off of a, not trying to typecast or whatever, but I always thought I like her style on that show, and I think it would, her acting delivery and like her kind of like a little bit snarky but still kind of curious but still very innocent kind of thing. Okay. I think that would be a good Jubilee. So I base it more off of acting than anything else. Is that
Brenda Song? Is that her name?
Maybe.
Okay, because I always thought that she would be a really good Jubilee.
Maybe. I don't know.
She's the chick that's married to Macaulay Culkin. And
no, not her.
Okay, no. Okay, never mind. Tangent over. Here we go.
Anyways, back to the. And it opens with "Whatever You Want from Me" from Whitney Houston.
I mean,
you kind of know.
No, I mean,
that broke my heart when I heard. I'm like, really? Anyways, no, I got to check it out though. I still haven't finished Daredevil's Born Again. I'm really behind on them. I'll get back into it. There's been some things that have come up that's gonna just kind of like, there's some stability coming, so it'll be good. But
yeah. And I, to be honest, I think that Daredevil Born Again, like the ending, they stick the landing, mind you, but I get the feeling that they're setting up for something bigger and better that's going to happen within the like cinematic universe.
Yeah. By the time y'all see, I'm not sure when we're releasing this, but Spider-Man might be out already.
Oh, it definitely will be. We got like 2 months banked. We're good. Yeah.
Which we'll probably jump in line still.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yeah, dude, I'm so excited for Spider-Man.
Yeah, me too.
I do feel kind of bad in the fact of Tom Holland then went to work with this movie will probably be out once. The Odyssey went to go work with Chris Nolan.
Yeah,
and he was kind of like, wait a second, like. Marvel, for as big as they are, and it did bite them in the ass at a certain point. Like, you guys are flying way too much by the seat of your pants. And I think he kind of hinted at the amount of preparation that Christopher Nolan had going into the Odyssey and
meticulous
stuff. And then he was just like, he didn't really, I mean, he's done other movies and stuff, but he's just like, why are we not shooting these movies in this style? Like with this level of preparation, as opposed to like, we have unfinished scripts and we're like, still like, and it's the Marvel machine is going on without you. And sometimes when it works very well. And I think we're getting back to that. But
well, I think it has more to do with like Christopher Nolan is like a director auteur. You know what I mean? Like he has a very singular vision. It's his vision. It's there's no other director that's doing the same type of film that Christopher Nolan is doing. And for better or worse, I think that the Marvel movies are going for a more broad general appeal. And so with that, you have to bring in, and especially they're connecting, different movies and different timelines and different worlds into a semi-cohesive singular universe.
Semi-cohesive, yeah. At this point,
so of course, when that happens, you're bringing in, like obviously Kevin Feige has the biggest oversight, but you get different styles of movies and directors that want to focus on different aspects of the character arc and whatnot, and so it's different when you have so many different cooks running the kitchen, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's very hard to make sure, like, okay, well, this was the script, but then the director before this movie mentioned something about, quantum bands or whatever. And so now we have to find a way to tie that in.
Yeah, that's true. It is a much more living, breathing organism than the Odyssey, which has been written for thousands of years.
Well, and especially Christopher Nolan, who, I guarantee you he's been working on this script for probably the past 5 to 10 years.
And it'll still piss me off at some point.
Yeah, probably. But again, it's his vision, and you go to see a Christopher Nolan movie. But when you go to see a Marvel movie, you go to see the company movie. You go to see a Marvel movie, as opposed to like, oh, the Russo brothers are directing. Like, I got to go see that. Or
I can't wait for this, Doctor. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for them. But anyways, I forgot. We were talking about X-Men. Yeah, you want to review it? I'm going to jump back on. We'll probably do a season recap at the end.
Sure.
Just, we do promise the people we usually try to come back at some point. But
I think by the time this came out, it should be over. So
season 3 should be out by then.
Should be starting about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you rate the first episode?
I'm going to rate the first episode Wolverine without his adamantium.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah. Is he grunting and feral?
Extremely.
Nice.
I will say there was a pretty cool scene where he jumps on like a sentinel's back and he starts trying to claw at the neck like he does in the original series.
Yeah.
And he forgets that he doesn't. I guess he forgot he doesn't have his adamantium, so his bone claws shatter and he just goes like in pain. And then he just goes fuck it and just rips the thing's head off and tosses it like a rugby ball.
Hell yeah. I always thought the artwork style of that was really weird because I think it was the guy that did the Max started doing the covers.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And he would just have like a bandana pulled over his nose and he had like no nose ever. And it would just be these like white eyes. And it was a really weird time in comics. But I always liked those covers because it was very like
he definitely looked he looked more like Beast than Wolverine. It was very much very emotive of that.
Yeah. Yeah. The guy that did the Max, man, his covers were always so dope.
Didn't he just died recently?
I think so. Yeah. I think so. I could be wrong, but
I wish I could remember his name, but
I don't know. We're the ill-prepared podcast.
Shout out to you, Mr. Maxman.
Yeah. Anyways, what else you got, my friend?
Let's see.
What else you been watching?
After that, I saw Super Troopers 2.
I saw this once, and it was many years ago. So I don't recall. I don't have the best recollection, but go ahead though. What you got? Yeah,
it came out in 2016, so probably a little distant from there. I gotta say, it felt like they were trying to just rehash the same jokes. Like I'll give it this. I definitely laughed while watching this movie. I couldn't quote you a single new joke from the new movie, other than the ones that they recycled from the old movie.
That's fair. I don't recall a bunch of it. I remember watching it late at night. I think it was already had been on video. The only thing I can really recall about this movie is that it did come out around the time that a lot of sequels to comedies were coming out that a lot of people were considering too little, too late. A la Dumb and Dumber 2, Zoolander 2, Anchorman 2.
Right.
And there was one other I forgot.
Groundhog's Day 2.
Yes. Yeah, there was one other that came out around that time.
It's just the same movie.
Yeah. Pretty good bit, actually. I remember of the ones that came out like that, I remember I liked this one the most in terms of Anchorman still had like a lot of quotable stuff, which was very funny, but I never found Anchorman to be like, except for when the first time you watch him kick the dog off the thing. Like, I never found Anchorman to be that funny. It was just super quotable.
Sure.
It was just like you and your buddies just being like, oh yes, I will. My apartment smells of rich mahogany and I have leather bound books. Like
I've traveled 500 miles to give you my seat.
Well, that's Step Brothers, but yeah. But yeah, I remember.
That's right. I'm sorry.
You're right. I remember Super Trooper 2 when it came out. I felt like that merited its own existence the best, in my opinion. And again, they're just like, let's just do it in Canada, you know. And I also have a familiarity with those. I like Broken Lizard. I think those guys are genuinely pretty funny. Sure. So if you just roll camera on them for 90 minutes, I'm cool. You know what I mean? Right. And I didn't expect them to achieve the highs or the cult status of Super Troopers. Talk about a movie that got word of mouth buzz by home video. Again, right. But yeah. I mean, it came out like 10 years I think like 12 years after the original or something like that.
Something like that.
It was a long gap between that.
Yeah.
And then there's an even larger gap, a pretty equally as big gap between 2 and 3. So, but I remember liking it though. Like
I said, it's not, at no point was I sitting there being like, oh, this movie sucks. It's just, I could tell that they were trying to hit the same beats. And they even sort of make some meta references to it. You know, like there's this whole, the long and short of it is basically they find out that there's an area of Quebec, Canada, that the map was when the map between the border between the US and Canada was originally drawn was off. And so there's this whole town that is part of Vermont that previously was part of Canada. And so they go up there to they're basically promised hey, if you guys can go integrate yourselves into the town and learn how to take over from the Mounties, you can have your old state trooper jobs back. And they go up there, meet the Mounties, and they find a stash of drugs and weapons and counterfeit money and stuff like that. And so the long and short of it is it becomes this mystery. They figure out that by the town, the Quebec town being now integrated as part of the US, they can stash these weapons and drugs throughout the area. And then once the takeover happens, they're already across the border, so they don't have to risk crossing the border with drugs and weapons and counterfeit bills. So and then
hilarity ensues.
And of course, the whole time the troopers are suspecting the Canadian Mounties as the drug smugglers and stuff like that. And they meet the hot liaison chick, and they don't trust her because they previously got screwed over by the Vermont cops or whatever. So
yeah. I remember wasn't Will Sasso in that movie as well?
He was. It was Will Sasso.
He's had a good career, man. I like Will Sasso. He was one of the secret weapons on. Wow, there was actually Mad TV had a really good cast actually. In retrospect, they had a lot of really funny people.
Yeah, there was Bobby Lee. There was
Phil Lamar was on there. What's Tommy Lee Davidson? I think no,
that was in Living Color.
No, I thought he was on Mad TV briefly as well.
He might have been.
I think Chris Rock ended up on Mad TV for a single season.
I think you're right. Yeah, because he went to SNL and got fired.
Yeah, I think he was on Mad TV for a hot second. Ari Spears. Yeah.
Oh, what's her name? Lois.
Lois. Yeah. Even the one that's in Black Diamond. Oh my God. Yeah. I know. Anyways, they had a good cast though. Yeah. Yeah.
Shout out to you, Mad TV.
Yeah. Shout out to you.
Yeah. So anyway, like I said, it's funny, but it didn't really capture my imagination. There was no point where I was like, oh, I can't wait to quote that line down at the water cooler tomorrow.
People be like, what are you talking about?
Right. Yeah. Right. This movie came out in 2016, man. No one saw it then.
Yeah. Some people just hold Super Troopers 1 in such high esteem that they just want to keep that sacred as well. And I get some of that, but part of me is like, I don't know, man. If it makes me laugh, it makes me laugh. Right. So
I will say I liked this movie better than I liked Club Dread.
Definitely better than Club Dread. Matthew loves Club Dread, though.
Does he really? Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. He's got these weird tastes. I'm just like, really? But not quite as good as Slammin' Salmon.
I'd put it right there with Slammin' Salmon. But I don't know, maybe a little bit more into my recollection. But I haven't seen Slammin' Salmon in a while or this. So, but definitely the top two are Super Troopers and Beer Fest.
Oh, untouchable. Yeah,
those movies are just cult class. I mean, in any time a comedy, if you give me 2 certified hits, we're good. Like Monty Python had 3.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And I mean, they had a bunch more sketches and stuff that stood the test of time. But in terms of movies, you gave me 2 in a weird, I love The Meaning of Life, but you know what I mean? You gave us 3. So you give me 2 as a comedy troupe, we're good.
Right,
we're good.
Right.
You guys get a pass for life.
Yeah. I mean, they're still batting 225, something like that, average wise.
Even then, I don't think, I really don't think, Super Troopers 2 was bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's a good single. You know what I mean? You got on base. I respect it.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, I hear you. I just don't remember enough about the movie to sit here and comment. I just remember, like I said, liking it. I remember being like, well, it validated its existence, in my opinion. Again, I remember I thought Dumb and Dumber 2, while there are still some very funny sequences,
there was no need for that.
And Zoolander 2 was the same way. I was like, all right, this is stupid. Anchorman 2 had really funny parts, but again, it was kind of like, I get why you did it. That one was kind of, I see why that exists, but even then it felt like too little too late.
Yeah. Or just trying to squeeze blood from the stone kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, how many more bits can we get out of this guy? I mean, like, because at some point it's just roll camera on, Will Ferrell saying ridiculous shit in a funny voice, which is fine, but I'd much rather see him doing that in a new character or in a new light, as opposed to like.
I was also kind of mad at Anchorman 2, to be honest with you, because I've told the story on the podcast about I would like reach for something and like struggle to reach, and they'd be like, blackpeoplemeet.com. And they like did that almost that exact bit where he's talking to Megan Good. And he's like, black. He's like, I was going to explode if I didn't say it. And so I felt like that bit had already like run its course with me. And I was like, I mean, I get it's a funny bit, but I was just kind of like, I don't know. It was.
So what you're saying is Will Ferrell stole your bit.
A little bit. But again, and that was like one of the parts that people found the most funny. And that had the almost very similar premise had been within my like personal mind for like a year and a half. So I was like, I don't know. They could have been sitting on it for a while, but yeah, I was like, okay. But the only thing is, and now we're not even talking about Super Troopers 2.
Right.
The best part of Anchorman 2 is when he's blind. He's talking about how he pleasured himself to
Mrs. Butterworth.
And he's talking about that
she got me there in ways I never knew possible.
In the deleted scenes, he's talking about, I know how the villagers of Pompeii felt like, right. But instead of molten hot liquid maggot, it was white frothy hot ejaculate. That shit was so funny too.
Like the villagers of Pompeii.
I can watch that deleted scene 1,000 times. But again, you give me that, it's like, cool, man. But I mean, Ron Burgundy is a legendary character, and I feel like the Super Troopers are just legendary characters. Yeah, at this point, you know what I mean? Like Farva especially, but like even, I don't know. They're just legendary characters. And if I hang out with them for 90 minutes, like I'm cool.
Oh, it's a fun time.
I mean? Like I may still go see 3 just depending on what's out that week, but just being like, I don't know, man. Let me kill 90 minutes hanging out with some old friends.
They've got enough goodwill on my part to be like, I mean, maybe I'm not going to go during the, prime season, but I'll go see a matinee,
Right. So what do you want to rate Super Troopers 2?
I'm going to rate it 3 A's.
Nice work. All right. Well, on that note, we're going to take I guess let's just take a quick break and we'll come right back and we'll kind of roll through the show and maybe a little shorter episode. This episode is brought to you by Chords. Wrap them shits up, B.
We'll be right back. And we are back from our sponsor, Chords. They make the sound happen.
They make this shit work.
Lord knows we don't.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. Anyways, where were we?
Anyway, I had a question for you, sir.
Okay.
What you been watching?
Oh, man. Okay. Toy Story 5, we're going to wait on because I got a very special guest. We're going to do all things Toy Story. And I'm so excited because he's so much more professional than we are. And we're going to have to be on our best behavior. But he's also like one of the coolest cats you'll ever meet. So
you have to be on your best behavior. I promise to change nothing.
There you go.
This is the formula that works.
Yeah. Well, I am friends with him, so I could probably cut a little more loose. But just anyways, here nor there. Yeah, we're going to talk. I did see Toy Story 5. Okay. I gave a short review about it. I liked it. I'm surprised some of the reviews were a little bit harsh on it, but we'll talk about that on another episode. So I'm going to skip that. What else have I been watching to stick with the name brand that let's see. Supergirl.
Yeah.
That's right. That's the one. We were going to wait on that, but we're not going to wait on that anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
Man, it's weird. Sometimes you have an opinion that actually fits into the mold of the general consensus of things. And it's not a hot take. Excuse me. Nose is itching. It's not a hot take. The movie's not that. I mean, it's nothing special. Supergirl, that is.
So you don't mean in terms of the it's pro woke feminist bullshit. It's just
I don't care about us. Like
no. I just mean like in terms of the movie's just kind of bleh.
There's a lot of reasons, right? One, I've never read I like Tom King as a writer, and they adapted Superman, Woman of Tomorrow, or Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, or whatever it's called. I'm not familiar with the source material. I have a vague understanding of it, just given my connection to comic books, and I know it got a lot of really good reviews, and just the basic premise. The issues in this movie, let's just start with the one thing of just when you have a main character who's broken, right?
Okay.
It works to a certain degree because you want to relate to them. But if they don't give a fuck, it's hard for me to give a shit. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, I don't care. And
if the protagonist doesn't care about what the ultimate outcome is, then it's hard for the audience to attach themselves to that and go like, well, then why should I care?
Yeah, and that goes on too long. I get like...
So if I may, like what's her deal? Like why is she so apathetic? Why is she...
Well, okay. So her whole story is Krypton explodes. Surprise, surprise. We know that part.
Right.
Her, I believe, dad, Zor-El, I believe. Yeah, Jor-El is Clark Kent's father. So Zor-El, yeah. So cousin. His cousin, yeah. He was a scientist as well. They lifted this entire city into orbit.
Not Kandahar.
That's the bottled city. Yeah, of Kandor.
Kandor, that's it.
Yeah, but no, it's a different city. I forget what it's called. It starts with the A. But this city gets lifted into space or whatever, and they're roaming or whatever. And for a while, they're very happy, and they're like, oh, thank God we got off of Krypton before it exploded, you know. But the problem is that everyone starts dying of kryptonite poison. Slowly but surely. And so they don't ever... It's a weird entry point into an origin story movie, because imagine if somebody else said this, but it's a good example. Imagine if Iron Man 2 was your entry point and all they did was give you a flashbacks of Iron Man 1. You'd be like, I'm not really that invested.
Sure.
And so I get that they're saying like the reason why her whole thing is like she goes to planets with a red sun to get drunk because she's in agony because her whole planet explodes, right? In the last moments, she's like the surviving member of this last city. Everyone's dying of kryptonite poison or whatever, because apparently they lifted some of it with them. And so everyone was dying. And so they're like, no, we're going to send you.
So they like self-contaminated the city or something.
Okay,
gotcha.
So everyone was dying and they're like, all right, well, we're going to send you off to go to Earth as well. And the last minute she finds Crypto, the dog, when they're, burying a bunch of people. And they do all this through flashbacks. And so like that part I get. And so she's a very broken person. And so she's going from red planet to red planet, or to a planet within a red sun solar system to depower herself so she can get drunk and drink herself into oblivion to not care. Which is, again, that's fine. I understand it. But like, if you don't care, and like, that's pretty much the first act. So it's like, if you don't care in the first act, like, why do I care? Right. And so I get it. And so, but they don't really tell you all this until later. And so you're just like, this person, they do a flashback later and you're like, okay, I get it.
To sort of garner the sympathy of like, oh, here's why she's so broken and fucked up.
Yeah. And so there's that. And then the movie does it's just there's low hanging fruit in terms of emotional manipulation.
Sure.
And I'll give you an example, right? In most movies, when there's like, they did this in Black Adam as well, right? And like, when you have a parent dynamic, right? What do you expect the dad to do? The dad dies in sacrifice, right?
Sure.
And what happens when we have a movie where there's like a big like who's the rat, who's the mole? We automatically have some. And the movie we talked about, The Rip, does this as well,
sure,
right?
Yeah,
where it's like, oh, this person's a mother, so we inherently trust them.
Sure.
And it works.
And this person has financial difficulties and a sick daughter or something like that.
Well, not even all that, but just because they're a mother, you just say, oh, well, I'm a mother, and it's like, it just comes with such an emotional attachment that we just, for whatever reason, we're like, oh, we trust that character now.
Sure.
Right. And you are right. Those are other tropes that do come into play as well. So I didn't mean to cut you off, but I didn't want to lose the point of like,
sure, got you.
So in this one, they're like, the bad guy hurts the dog. And you're like, okay, I kind of watched this in John Wick and I watched this in Guardians of the Galaxy 1 through 3. And it's just like, it's low hanging fruit at this point where you're just like, oh, they poisoned Crypto. And now there's a ticking clock where they have to go cure Crypto. And it's just, Does it work? Yeah, but it doesn't do anything new with it. You're just like, okay,
and it's also like the thinnest of plot lines. You know, it's threadbare.
And so it's like, I get it. Okay, as an animal, you're just like, oh, animal lovers got to do it right. And so that's the reason I brought up the mother thing. It's like there's all sorts of these things that you're just like, oh, well, she can't, like, I want her to survive. And so like the same thing with dads typically. It's like the dad typically dies in sacrifice of like, run, save my family. Same shit happens here in the movie to a different character. Dad, like, granted, the bad guy kills the whole family, but that's why the other, I think I forget her name, but the young lady that journeys with Kara on this journey, like the bad guy,
the sword lady.
Yeah, I forget her name. Yeah, I'm doing a really bad job.
She's like a DC tertiary character, and it was never my forte, so we'll forget it.
Yeah, and so
sword lady.
Yeah, and so her big thing is like, and so again, so we got that emotionally low hanging fruit with like crypto being poisoned. You're like, okay, I guess it works. I'm like, okay. And then you have the other like low hanging manipulation of, oh, bad guy killed her whole family. Mm-hmm. And then it just becomes like the whole time she does this, what's his name? Indigo Montoya.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Right.
Her whole thing, like she has this whole speech about like, I am here to find something of the yellow, and he killed my whole family, and I'm here to vow revenge. And she says it like 6 times in the movie. Where you're just like seeing this in Princess Bride,
right?
Like, and to the point they mock her, and it's just like, okay, man. Like, and so it's just you mix those two things together, and you're just
now is that? Do you think that that's James Gunn trying to play into the trope and overdoing it, or do you think he's playing the trope as sort of like realizing it's a joke?
No, I think they're doing it seriously. Does
that make sense?
I do. I didn't get the sense of, I mean, the joke plays itself in the fact of she repeats it so many times that Kara is just kind of like, and kind of like mouths it with her.
Okay.
But like, that's not satire. That's the character growing tired of it. That's not a wink at the camera being like, you know what I mean? That's just us being like, okay, Kara is bored of this too. We as the audience are too. That was the only like, and so it's just, you couple those two things, and then it's like, the script is just kind of like, it's just kind of flimsy. And again, it's going to sound like I'm shitting on this. I'm going to say a lot of the way it's shot. They try to do like a Mad Max vibe almost. And it's just a bunch of grays and browns in terms of stuff that's really kind of, to be honest, set pieces that are fairly boring. And the whole point of the comic book of the art I see is that it's very like spacefaring, and they go to all these interesting locales. Sure, even like when they're on a bus with all these colorful characters of like, oh, look at all these wonderful aliens. It's just lit and so drab and just, and it's the way they light it. Everyone's a shadow, and it's just, it visually doesn't even look that great. And I like the director. I mentioned that in the short, like, I, Tonya really has no business being as good as it is. Cruella is another movie where you're like, this could have been some ass. It's all like he works with what he's got, I think, pretty well. This one was a bit of a misstep in terms of visually, and why this movie was supposed to this wasn't supposed to be the second in line DCU movie, right? Yeah,
this got jumped pretty quickly.
Because the script was so, and I'm like, really?
Right.
Like, really? Okay. And so I don't know, man. I mentioned it. It has nothing to do with like, I like Kara just like I like Nightwing, just like I like Spider-Man for the same reasons. You have every reason to be the biggest piece of shit on the planet.
Sure.
Right? And yet you choose this path of like by all means, Dick Grayson should be a terrible human being. And he's like the most beloved of all the superheroes. He's like the golden, like, everyone loves Nightwing, right?
He's not the best superhero, but he's the best of us.
Yes, exactly. He doesn't have the power set. He still goes out there. He learned under, let's be honest, an abusive Bruce Wayne.
Right.
I mean, who looked out for him in a lot of ways too. Don't get me wrong.
Still a toxic, abusive relationship by any definition, for sure.
Like his parents got murdered in cold blood. The stuff he's seen, like his partner's being beaten, like, and he still turns out every day to be like, no, man, I'm good. And like Kara Zor-El is very much so the same way, where, spoiler alert, if you haven't read the comic book that came out in like 86, I think, Crisis on Infinite Earths, they were deciding which of those two to kill for those very same reasons. She's like one of those beams of hope that's just like, man, she has every reason to be a miserable prick. And she's still not. And this movie does kind of help her show that.
Almost based on the comic book, she's almost like the hopeless idealist. Like Superman, based on the things that he's seen, might be a little bit jaded in certain areas, but Kara-El is very much no, in spite of all that, we have to hope harder kind of thing.
I think there's some of that with Superman, and we'll just to not get into the debate about Superman, I do agree with what you're saying, where Superman, the reason why Superman, and there's a whole video on Screen Crush, which is actually, they did an incredible job of this, about why evil Superman just doesn't work. It's played out every time.
Sure,
it's good for a minute. And you're like, oh, what if Superman broke bad on all of us? It's because it's kind of shallow. And it's like, no shit. Superman's not super. And this is to quote them. Superman's not super because of his powers. He's super because of his restraint.
Yes. Right.
You know what I mean?
Right,
That's what makes him super.
Right. Given the power of a god, and he's still
the most human of us.
Yeah, he finds the humanity to remain a man.
Yeah, like that. His power is in his restraint. You know, and I want to give credit to Screen Crush, because when they said that, I was like, holy shit, like perfectly said. So I'm not trying to, again, we talk about movies here, but and so Kara Zor-El is very much so like she is this hope thing, and by the end of the movie, she does kind of like, hey, let me give this Earth thing a try, right? And Superman's the whole time trying to be like, hey, I sure could use you, you know, not even in terms of just like your power,
in terms of like coming back to Earth. And,
yeah, like, you know, you're kind of, he's trying to be a good cousin and be like, and you can kind of also tell a little bit like, hey, I'm lonely too, man. I get it. Like we do have each other, you know? And so he's in it just the right amount. And I do more and more like David Corrin Sweat's portrayal of Superman. I think we've been very lucky in the fact of the people we've had play Superman have played a good Superman despite a relatively spotty script.
On all accounts, yeah. I mean, even going back to the George Reeves of it all, I would say, you know, like, because George Reeves
him and Christopher Reeves were pretty thin.
Yeah.
And they did such a good job of being Superman that you're like, oh, even Henry Cavill, you're like, the script's kind of all over the place. But I still kind of like it because this guy's really good at it. He gets
correct. Yes. Yeah. I don't think it's ever been the actor's fault. I think that just Superman is kind of a one-dimensional character just inherently. And so it's hard to, and we've addressed this, when the only thing that can really hurt you is a magic space rock, where do you go from there?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because, and you're 100% right. So she, again, I don't really have a problem with not David Gunn, James Gunn. He writes versions of his characters that are different than those of the comics, which I respect, but also, if I'm a fan of the comic book source, and it worked with the Guardians of the Galaxy, as we've mentioned before, because nobody gave a shit about the Guardians of the Galaxy.
It's easy to transform.
Take the liberties you want. Exactly. Like nobody gives a shit. I am Groot. Okay, you made him a lovable character.
There's nobody
skill set.
Yeah, there's nobody that's being like, and they changed the Guardians of the Galaxy that I grew up with. Like, no, you didn't. No, you might have one issue from a random. Yeah, like
I had to Google who Star-Lord.
Nobody was a Guardians of the Galaxy fan. There was no big like. Well, I sure hope they stick to the source material.
Yeah, Yondu showed up enough in a bunch of other things that you kind of knew who he was, and even then he had like the area. He had a cool look, so you knew. Oh, I know Yondu, but like you don't talking about the Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, get out of here. And so, but it's a weird thing of like, explain to me why I like this version of this character, and they don't really do a good job of Kara Zor-El. It's like, I like her. I like the comic book version. I don't know why you want me to like this interpretation of her so much. Sure. And it just falls kind of flat. And like I said, between that and this muddled like Mad Max kind of thing. The villain is so incredibly forgettable. Like, it suffers from like the Marvel, like some of the bad Marvel movies where you're like,
is that you're talking about Lobo? Or no,
Lobo's not the villain.
Okay.
No, he's just more on him in a second.
Okay,
but I forget. It's something of the yellow. I forget his name even. It's something of the Yellow Hills or whatever.
Who cares?
Like that.
Yeah,
and like this whole
third, fourth, fifth tier.
Yeah, he's DC really forgettable, villain. And he's just like, he's kidnapping people, and it's just, it plays to like, the other emotional trope we're gonna do. He's kidnapping kids, and you're like, okay. And you just kind of get this hodgepodge of just like low hanging fruit, and you're just like, I don't know, man. Like, cool, I guess.
Right.
And like, yeah, I want the dog to live. Yeah, and the whole moral. I can't really get into this without spoiling her whole thing.
Just spoil it. It's
Kara is trying to teach this young woman that like revenge isn't going to save you, right? Revenge isn't going to save you. It's like you don't want this. You don't want this. She's like, no, I do. And then it comes down to it, and like at the very end, she finally beats the hell out of him. Oh, I remember what I say about Kryptonite. Before I get into the ending, pause. Put a pin in that. I'm ADD. I apologize. They find a way to fucking depower Supergirl at every turn.
Right.
At every turn. She's like, I can't use my powers because fill in the blank. And it's constant. And again, it is hard, like you said earlier, when you're on your only source of weakness is like a glowing yellow rock or whatever. It's like, oh, we're either on a red sun planet. Oh, surprise, surprise. There's a green kryptonite sun planet. It's like,
right.
It's just like she's constantly. And again, it's if you walk through your enemies constantly, it's boring as shit. But also, like, you just nerf her constantly and put her. It's like, I don't know, man. They don't strike the right balance.
I was gonna say there's got to be like we have to appreciate the power level that she has, but there also has to be some sort of imminent threat to where, like, oh, despite all this power, she might not make it out of this kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's just she's just constantly nerfed, and it's just like, all right, man, like. You're not really giving me.
What if we did Spider-Man, but we took away his web swingers and his wall crawling ability and his spider sense?
And we did it three times.
Yeah, and
three or four times. You're like, okay,
it's like, okay, so it's the Peter Parker story, which, I mean, that's fine, but that's a completely different movie.
And then when she's out of commission, it's like, I guess we'll do a flashback here. I'm like, oh, surprise, surprise. Here's how. And it's like, I retroactively now have to care about, like, they just don't strike the balance. And And so in the end, I say, fast forward back to that. In the end, it's this whole grand scheme of like, don't kill. It's not going to bring you back. It's not going to make you better. It's not going to make you better. And then she convinces the girl ends up convincing. She doesn't kill the bad guy, the main bad guy,
the yellow sun guy.
Yeah, the yellow of the Yellow Hills or whatever. And like
Mr. Yellow.
Yeah, the girl doesn't kill him, and then Kara Zor-El is just like, I'll take that sword though. This is for my dog, and this is for her family. Bye. And it's like. What the fuck?
What was the point anyway?
What were you trying to sell me? And in the comic book, the vast difference is, and I had to do some research on this afterwards. I said I didn't read it. The whole thing was that they tell this story, and at the end, and it's like, and I wish I could tell you that this was the actual story, right? And really it is in the end of like, they let him live, and it's like this whole thing, and they eventually go back to kill him later, of like they put him in the negative zone, and then they free him from the negative zone, and they still end up killing his ass, just being like. And so it's this whole like morally gray kind of area that works really well. And I'm grossly paraphrasing what happens in the comic book.
Sure.
But in this one, like the movie, it's like, I don't understand your message.
Right.
So Kara Zor-El can kill him, which, a punch from Supergirl, you might just die anyway.
Right.
And like somehow this guy can withstand like tons of abuse, and the other guys get kicked and they're out of commission. It makes no sense.
Right. There's no scale of power or no scale of like what is the rules of this universe.
Right. And so it's just kind of all over, and it just doesn't really do anything all that well. And even if I were to say it's middle of the road, right? Like this movie is just completely a middle of the road superhero movie. We've had so many of them that middle of the road, the bars moved, unfortunately. Where
I'll buy that.
We have so much, there's so many to choose from.
Right.
And we live
spoiled for choice at this point.
Yeah. And so the good ones are going to be the good ones, and early Marvel really capitalized on that. And Gen Z is pretty much saying, hey, look, we're not buying it. Those were for your millennials, right? You had a good 20-year run, and fair enough. I get it.
Right.
But like, it's not, you're not doing anything all that new or impressive. And it doesn't mean the movie's absolute shit. I think Millie Alcock did a fine job. Jason Momoa as Lobo was like, duh. And I like Jason Momoa. I don't even know how much he was acting. I think he's like, hey, you want to ride around on motorcycles and talk shit? I'm like, I think he probably just does.
Like, my man.
Yeah. Like, so him being Lobo is a layup, and I don't. That's not a knock on him. That's great casting.
Yeah, apparently, when he first heard that James Gunn was producing the new Supergirl, he literally just texted him Lobo ?
Or like, and Lobo bitch or something like that.
Right. And James Gunn was like, oh, of course.
Which again, I'm not mad at you. Like, put your aces in your places. If you cast somebody, if you're like, hey, I need a funny, charismatic black security guard at a prison, and you're like, let's cast Terry Crews, I'd be like, great call.
Right,
you know what
exactly.
I mean? That's not a knock on you for casting, but like, how much acting do you know what I mean? Go be Terry Crews for a little bit.
Right.
I feel like this is the same thing with Jason Momoa being like, hey, we get Lobo, right? Say the word Bastich, do your cool thing. Like, not a knock on him.
Menacing, you know.
Yeah, he's perfectly cast as Lobo. So
I just think it's funny that like, when he first got cast as Aquaman, he did an interview. It was like, yeah, I was always a big fan of Lobo, and I wanted to play that. So like, if I get the chance to play even something in the DC universe, like I'm going to take it. And now he's getting the opportunity to do the thing that he always wanted to do. It's kind of like when Ben Affleck did Daredevil.
Yeah.
Like he always wanted to play Batman, but he always felt like, oh, they're never going to give that option to me because I'm just not that guy. You know, they're going for the George Clooney's, the Val Kilmers, the what have you. So I'll go play Daredevil. You know, like that's my second favorite comic book character ever. You know, I've worked with Kevin Smith and he wrote for Daredevil and they're basically doing his story. I love Kevin Smith. So yeah, we'll do that. And then to get asked back around, you know, 10, 12 years later when Zack Snyder's like, so
can you put on 20 pounds of muscle
and just put on the cape and cowl? He's like, it's all I've ever wanted to do, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There's times in your life where even if the movie sucks, if they're like, hey, you want to be this? Be like, yes, absolutely.
Right.
Like even I won't even mention him, but
go ahead.
Jared Leto as a Joker. I hated his interpretation, but
I did too.
No matter what, if hey, you want to play the Joker in a movie? I'm like,
God,
of course, yes, of course, yes. Even if I suck, like,
right. Well, because
how many times?
I mean, at this point, like the Joker might be like, you know how like all the great actors felt that they needed to play Hamlet at some point. You know, you get the John Barrymores, you get the Ethan Hawke's, the whatever, you know, like they at some point they all feel the need to play Hamlet because that's like the serious role and you get to put your own spin on it and like, you know, there's everybody else's
a lot
Hamlet
of meat on the bone
and then there's your Hamlet, you know. So I kind of feel like, again, the Joker is one of those characters where if you're offered the role, you got to take it. You got to, because you have an interpretation that might be completely different, win or lose, that's different than everybody else's that come before you.
And there's not many characters like him.
Exactly.
Even if you like write an archetype and you're like, it's kind of a Joker-esque type. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So yeah, I'm with you on that. So forgot where I was going with that. But yeah, Lobo plays he's in it enough where he kind of has his own
he's in it.
He's in it enough and like he has his own set. I mean, he's a bounty hunter. He don't give a shit about good or bad or indifferent or whatever. And so their paths kind of at one point are kind of similar in terms of like, I guess they kind of want the same thing, but even then not really. They just kind of happen to be at the same place.
Their interests intersect
but not because of like I'll help you and you help me. It's like literally I am on my own path and you are on your own path, and yet they have intersected twice. Right. Kind of thing.
Got weed, got papers.
Right. And not even that. It's just like we happen to be smoking our own blunts at the same place.
Right. You want to pass this in rotation?
Right.
Let's do that.
Right. So I mean, I don't want to sit here and trash the movie, but it was pretty underwhelming. And again, it's not terrible. It's not the unwatchable pile of dog shit that a lot of people are making it seem, but it really is nothing special to me. I was just like, all right, like at least, you know.
So just kind of fun summer popcorn movie.
Yeah. But
or even less than that.
In retrospect, the more I think about it, it was just kind of like, it's just meh.
Okay.
You know, but not quite as, there's levels of it. Like Morbius was just forgettable. And even if I take out my hatred of like Jared Leto, was like, it's just forgettable. Like I can't tell you a single scene that happened in that movie that was like, okay. Craven, at least I liked Aaron Taylor Johnson's performance. Okay. You know, I didn't find him to be the problem. The script is laughable. Like Madam Web was so bad that it's just like, oh man, like you kind of got, you know what I mean? There's a hate watch element to that. Sure. Morbius was just kind of like, this is just entirely forgettable.
Right.
It's not quite that bad, or it's just like there's nothing spectacular and there's nothing bad enough that I'm like, oh, I'm going to remember how bad that is. Sure. But like, this is just it's a grade above that. It's the definition of just like,
Which I think we've kind of talked about before is the cardinal sin of movie making in terms of you make something that's so middle of the road that, not that it's hard to form an opinion, but like you can't hate it, but you don't like it. And it's like, it was capable and it was well shot, but like, I couldn't tell you a single thing that happened in the entire movie. Like that's the cardinal sin of movies, is it's so ambiguously like non-specific that you can't really say anything about it.
Yeah, very much so. So that wraps up my review of Supergirl. I'll review it like I did in the short. Too many different colored glowing suns.
Okay.
Yeah, like a pack of Skittles. I'm like, oh, there's a green one. Surprise, surprise. Let me guess what happens when the yellow sun rises.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway.
So Supergirl, the woman of tomorrow. Tomorrow.
There you go. We got there. All right. In the last,
that's why we workshop it.
I know, right? All right. And the last thing, this is a lot of. I know that you watched it as well, so I'm gonna skip the formality. You watched and we've been meaning to talk about this for a while. Good luck, have fun, don't die.
Yes, indeed, sir.
The wonderful Sam Rockwell performance, as always. He's first round What You've Been Watching Hall of Famer.
Deservedly so.
Yeah.
And this movie just reiterates that because he is fantastic through and through. Like everybody else is, even though they're secondary characters, and so they sort of have that going against them.
Good cast.
It's well cast, but he just shines. I mean, this is very much him carrying the movie and understanding the assignment and making big swings, but it works.
Yeah. He's awesome in this movie. And like I said, it has I like Zazie Beetz a lot. I like Michael Pena a lot. I like the girl who, spoiler alert, who, if you haven't seen this movie by now, please go see it. But
we'll wait. Go watch it.
Talk about it with somebody you love.
Come back. Hey, that was a great movie, right?
The girl who plays his mom.
Yeah.
Great job as well.
Yeah. Ingrid. Yeah.
Ingrid. Yeah. So I liked the cast a lot for sure. But you could tell at one point Gore Verbinski was saying, and this is like a little behind the scenes thing, when he would, I don't even know how to start with this movie. Very Groundhog's Day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so Sam Rockwell would have it.
It's like Groundhog's Day meets like Live, Die, Repeat or something like that.
Yeah, and Terminator as well. A little bit.
Sure. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, but it all blends perfectly, you know? Let the liquor tell it.
Yeah, but so one of the notes that Gore Verbinski gave Sam Rockwell, and he said he was very right on, was the fact that he would come in and do like a role or something, and as if he like knew the future or what. And he is like, you do. He's like, but remember, you are the least qualified person to be doing this job.
Right.
And so he often bumblefucks his way through things. And the way that they that was, to me, if that was one of the director's notes, great decision.
Yeah.
Because it's prevalent throughout the movie where he does have a leg up in the terms of like, he does know the future and all this, but there's no certainty in it.
Right. There's a scene where he basically leads his little like rebellion group, and they break into the house next door to the main house that they're trying to get to stop the AI or whatever. And he has this whole line about like, there's been a lot of groups that have made it here before, and something's going to happen. I can't tell you what it is. Sometimes it's ninjas, sometimes it's a SWAT team, sometimes it's Yakuza, sometimes it's, one time it was an army of rats. Something's going to happen in the next 5 minutes that's going to really suck for all of us. And not all of us are going to make it out. I don't know what that is. Let's just bar the doors, start looking for weapons, and hope for the best. And so it's playing around with the future in terms of he understands like the plot points, but he doesn't necessarily know it's constantly in the writer's workshop being rewritten.
Yes, and the final sequence, why I liked, and some people, it goes off the rail here, when the giant cat came out that was shooting lasers, or what was it? It was rainbows.
It was a centaur cat.
Yeah. Which to me is hilarious because it was just on the early days, of the internet, and when the early days of AI, when people were just generating photos, and you would just get AI just wacky shit. That's where our whole Gooblins came. Not the whole thing, but like Gooblins came from that in our D&D campaign, right? It was just like a bad AI generation of like, let me get a cat that's a centaur. And it just had like the entire thing made of cat faces and
with
like
horse hooves.
It was just like this wacky
big giant cat head that doesn't seem to quite fit.
Yeah. So like the basic premise of the movie is AI on this night some program is going to be launched that is going to end humanity.
Right. It's like Judgment Day or something.
And so he must then assemble the right combinations of the members from this diner
norms
to then go combat this inevitable future.
And he's done
like his 100th something time.
117th time. Yeah, I was just going to say. And he's tried various different combinations, and they never seem to work. Some work better, some work worse, but they never quite make it to. They basically, it's almost like the raid. Like they just have to go through like, if we just go through this series of buildings, jump through some backyards, we go to the kid's house where he's on the eve of creating this AI that's going to conquer the world and like lead to the downfall of humanity, because we all, for whatever reason, just allow AI to take over our lives, and we're all distracted looking at our phones and living in our virtual reality worlds, and society just crumbles around us and nobody seems to notice.
Right. And in the story, they then often break away, and he does little funny things where like he has one member with him and he's like, "You're a good soldier, believe me," and then he like tells somebody, he's like, he's about to die.
right.
He's like, but he'll do little things where
there's the one guy in the beginning where he's trying to recruit people, and the guy holds up his hand and he's like, no, I've been with you 87 times, and every time you let me down. You're horrible. You're a great person, but you're horrible.
Yeah. And the one guy, he's still not convinced, or whatever. He's like, let's jump this guy and whatever. And he's like, he's like, I could do a series of parlor tricks and bartender things to let you know that indeed I am from the future. I don't have time for that. So let's move forward. And he's like, the guy starts talking. She's like, you have 87 cents in your pocket. And he's like, yeah, so it's very like rapid fire. Right. Fact, I don't have time to sit here and explain this over and over and over and over and over again.
We've shared the passion of 1,000 suns, but we've never acted on it. But it's always been there, baby. And every time I just keep thinking it's not going to work out. But I'm saying to you right now, baby, damn it, let's roll the dice one more time.
He's so awesome. But
she's just looking at him like, I'm sorry, I don't know you, homeless man.
Yeah. And it's clear he comes in saying, I have a bomb. You mess with me, and I'll blow us all up. And eventually it's like, no, this is my reset device to go to try again. Right.
Anytime things get too fucked up, he just hits the button and resets and goes back for the 117th, 118th, 119th time.
Yep. So it's a lot of movie gets thrown at you in this one.
It's a lot.
And it's also why I brought this up earlier. It's hard to not talk about this movie and not be a little bit preachy.
Sure.
Just by nature of it, it is a very dark mirror.
Well, that's movie. On you.
Well, hang on, I got notes. Hang on. Yeah, I do have notes about it. But it is really much so about like, and Tim Dillon has a funny sketch about this in terms of they're building a prison for us. They're just doing a good job of making sure that it's comfortable. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So eventually, his whole bit was like, you're going to walk in one day and be like, oh, I don't know, let's walk to the store or whatever. And your door's going to lock and go click, click, click. Oh, oxygen levels outside are not, temperatures too high. Like, let's just order you and the drone will fly you in a Gatorade and a damn flip the TV on for you. And
you seem dehydrated. Here, I brought you some vitamin water.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So sorry, I'm going to get my notes up. I try to not do this on air, but it is what it is. But really, like the whole thing, I'm going to try not to read this verbatim, but we already kind of are building this in the sense of we're already in a loop of AI decided loops, which posts get seen, which jobs get recommended, which candidates, which when you're online, what to recommend, what to sell you. And what the problem is that it offers, we react, it learns, repeat,
and it just reinforces, reinforces the same things that we
offers. We react, it learns, we repeat.
Which reminds me, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button and help us out with the algorithm. We got some cool things coming, maybe some merchandise down the road. Marcus will be selling his black cherry, and
let's not make any promises. Anyways,
I can guarantee it.
I like how I looked at the barrel to say that. But yeah, so that's like the basic premise is that this AI is not actually taking over. It's just it's offering us a frictionless paradise, and it's removing our what makes us human by choice of the least friction. It's offering a challenge without any risk and the reward immediately in sight, right? So it's not actually tricking you into being like you will submit and comply. It's a willingness of being like one of the, as this goes on, you learn why this group of characters, they kind of like will reverse back in time to be like,
everybody has their little flashback as to how they got there during the day.
The role they're about to play as to why they're getting so far in this thing, in terms of like Zazie Beetz and Michael Pena are school teachers or substitutes or whatever like that at this high school. And all of a sudden something activates on these kids' phones and they all become mindless zombies. And they somehow have this ray that like you hit them with it and
it bricks the phone.
For a little bit. And so like that's where their role comes in. And then like Ingrid has a certain role to play and like so on and so forth. They all kind of have their like almost Slumdog Millionaire-esque. How did we get here and why are we about to be of service kind of thing? How do you know this thing? So so what did you I said when we first talked about it, I actually really, really liked this movie.
Oh, I did too.
I thought the third act, not with the AI cat thing. I was laughing my ass off at that, being like, yes, they did like an AI hallucination thing. It's such a great joke. I thought when they actually walked into the building with the child on the computer and just like tapping away, eating Cheetos or whatever, I thought that
little powder kid.
And I thought, powder, no doubt. One Skeet over? No, that was a different movie.
No, that was he was
said this before.
Boondock Saints.
Oh yeah. Anyways, but yeah, no, I thought that
German Maroni, that's it.
But I thought the scene of him, like when he was trying to combat Ingrid and Sam Rockwell's character, Man from the Future or whatever, and like all the cords were wrapping him up, and it was just like you had this like shut down zip drive or whatever,
right? The MacGuffin, yeah.
Like that went on too long, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then, but I will say they stuck the landing with a like, yes, you hooked me back in.
Right. It's almost like they were, spoiler alert, but like in the end, they find out that they're still plugged into the Matrix, and every choice that they've been offered is just the Matrix presenting them with the illusion of choice.
Yeah. Great analogy. That's why people shit on the Matrix Reloaded. I would wait. I understand your qualms, but there are some really philosophical things in the Matrix too that are definitely worth being explored. But yeah, that's it.
Ergo.
Yeah. And so at the end, when he's like, this is it, but this ain't my it, or he's like, this is paradise. Like, we did it, but this ain't it though. And he goes after he's been stabbed. But like that whole sequence went on way too long of like the little toy robots. It was fine, but they could have.
Yeah. Once they brought on the evil toy robots, I was like, what is this, Puppet Master? What are we doing
it
here?
Just went on like, and you got the cords whipping around the room. It was
well, in a world where essentially they're in an AI simulation run by a computer, why would you need horrific toy minions when you could just, I mean, literally do anything? I mean, literally turn it into like the last third act of Akira or something like that, you know?
Yeah, very true. And there's also there's some script things where I would really have to pay attention, which I don't mind the ambiguity, you know what I mean? But there are some things in terms of like, how did they then get plugged in if they had never, did he just, so there's a lot of it in terms of like, well, how does that happen in the real world? And if so, then when did they become a part of this AI simulation, right? So
right. Like we said, when they introduced the cat centaur that's made out of, it's like a bad AI prompt. It's like the whole body's made out of like little cat heads, and they're meowing and stuff like that. And then there's this big, giant, oversized cat, and it's got the horse hooves, and it's shooting glitter out of its dick. And, it's just, but at what point does that become reality? Like, how is that possible? Like, is this AI so powerful that it can not only influence reality, but also the reality of the quote unquote past?
Yeah.
Which it's intentionally ambiguous because we're just supposed to understand that this AI is God, so to speak.
Yeah.
But even still, it warrants a little bit of like, well, that doesn't make sense. And so what are the rules?
Agreed. And I don't mind being left. I don't need to understand all of it, but I literally thought that the scene with them being in the final room and like the wind whipping, I just thought that went on too long.
Sure.
I was like, okay, like where are we going? Because if this is just going to be, and then we plug it in and everything's better, it's like you could have, the stakes were already there. Then they never got any higher. You just kept extending them.
Yeah, they were pulling the taffy a little too long.
And it was just like, okay. And then I get that we needed a scene where the AI child offers Ingrid like, hey, why are you even fighting?
Here's your choice.
Why I'm offering you.
Right. It's the devil's deal. Like, I can offer you everything you want, or you can try and fight me and I win anyway.
Yeah. And so you knew that point had to come. Like you said, a good point. They just stretched that scene a little too much. But then when they stick the landing and he's like, nope, this ain't it. And he resets and he ends up back in the diner and he's like, you find out that Ingrid's his mom and all. Which you kind of saw coming. They put enough cookie crumbs there,
sure,
where if you figure it out early, you're like, I think this is where they're going with this.
Oh yeah,
and then you get the reward not too much later. You're like,
even in his own flashback, the fact that they started not he was talking very heavily about his mom and his mom's influence, and then they made a point to not show her face at any given point. I was like, I bet you dollars to donuts. I didn't figure out which one at the time. I thought it was going to be the woman that had her like synthetic son, like her
Juno Temple. Yeah, she's awesome. Temple. Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah. Great cast, by the way.
I thought it was going to be her. I didn't think it was going to be Ingrid, but at some point I figured like, oh, someone in that diner is his mom.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Yeah, it's a lot of movie, man, and I actually think it's one of the more important sci-fi movies to come out in a while, to be honest with you.
Well, that remains to be seen for me. I think right now it's very poignant. It's very timely. It deals with a lot of the contemporary issues that we ourselves are asking ourselves in terms of like, how much influence should AI have in our daily lives? And at what point do we owe it to ourselves to disconnect and interact face to face as opposed to being on our phones and reading notes? And
yes. No, you're again, I am listening. No, but again, you can't talk about this movie without getting preachy. Like some of the things that I wrote in here, it's like part of like, and this is I don't blame them. But again, like AI is already deciding what videos we're going to see. It's actually, people say like, oh, it's they are controlling. Like it actually doesn't really control you. It just serenades you into a false sense of security by showing you what you want.
Right.
All the while claiming neutrality. Right. And it's really not like
hey, I'm just here to serve you, but also you should check out these microwavable cheesy packs because I know you're a fat fuck and you love that.
Right. Exactly. And like
I noticed on your Amazon order you bought like 60 packages of it before.
It's already suggesting what we buy. Right. It's again, we react, it learns, we repeat. Right. It offers, we react, even if it's not for me. We react.
Right.
It learned, and then it's the constant, and we're already in it. Yeah, that's the scary part.
It's reaffirming our own biases and our own wants and our own, buying patterns anyway. It's like, hey, again, you bought, cheesy ramen for the past 30 days. Why don't you try new spicy ramen now with blue packaging?
Exactly. And there's an idea, and this is not my original idea, but there's an idea that our phones have not even become like they've surpassed the point of being a tool. And this movie focuses on AI, but it is just technology in general and our dependence on it, where our phones are not even a tool anymore, right? Like I'm using it right now as a notepad, but it's almost a room in our homes.
Yes. Right.
And so when
it's a safe space.
Yeah. And so when we're in this room in our home, right, there are generations of people, and this younger generation, I feel a certain amount of, I don't blame them, but there's an AI algorithm that is almost raising you, right? Which isn't necessarily the worst, but when you're in this safe room, right? And then this algorithm becomes your ideology,
right?
And then they offer that light at the end of the tunnel and go, now go back into the real world, which you have already presented to you as your theology. That's where the problem kicks in. Am I explaining that well? Okay.
You're right. You're right. It's almost like I'm going to use an extreme example here, but like it's some kid texting on his chat GPT, like I feel really lonely and I nobody connects with me, and I really think I'm going to shoot up the school. And then chat GPT responded like, well, you can accomplish anything you set your mind to if you really think about it. Like,
and you're like,
yeah, that's sort of a neutral answer, but also it kind of reaffirms the thing that they wanted to do anyway without really adding any accountability to the guidance given. And so it's just like, oh, well, chat GPT said I should do it. So, but it's just reaffirming. It's just reaffirming our own bias on the thing we were thinking about doing anyway.
And like I said,
it becomes an echo chamber where it just goes, like, no, you're right. You got it.
And then that light at the end of the tunnel is the real world. And like I said, if you are in this room, that is your phone, which I think is a brilliant concept of like, no, you're right. My phone has become far more than a tool. And there's a lot of people when, our generation, when we talk about millennials, like Michael is right on the cusp of Gen X millennial, right?
Sure. Yeah.
You're technically a millennial, but like
give or take. Yeah.
There's a little bit of overlap. So, this idea that like the internet was not like back in the 90s and the early 2000s, it wasn't because of the substance of the internet that made it awesome, right? And it did connect us in ways that were, but it wasn't because of like, oh, remember AOL Instant Messenger? Like, yeah, that was awesome, but like you'd be like, yeah, Twitter blows that out of or any number of these social blows that out of the water,
right?
So it wasn't the content.
Even just the messaging system on my phone blows away the original AOL, because then you had to take the time, log on, you had to make sure that
you said a keyword,
you had to make sure that nobody was going to answer the house phone and interrupt your dial-up internet speed and all that good stuff. So like even just the messaging system on my iPhone is miles ahead of what was in AOL,
The cool part about it though, and this is what people forget, is that it was a place we went and then you said the keyword, logged on, then we logged off. And don't get me wrong, I'm very grateful to have a phone with me at all times, but it offers distractions. It has also reaffirmed the fact that my silent thinking is not okay and I need stimuli. it reaffirms that. And I'm seeking that anyways. It's not doing anything, right? But like in the late 90s and 2000s, we logged off. We didn't take it with us.
Right.
We then would go out and I'm not preaching in this. Oh, we had it better back in my days. No. It was the nature of the beast. But like, I'm guilty. Clearly, I'm guilty as anybody. I have my phone with me all the time. I'm constantly watching something. I'm constantly listening to a podcast. Sure. Like, I get it, but it was something we did, and then we didn't take it with us and let it dictate every aspect of our day and everything. And we do, and we've signed up for it, right?
Sure. So, but like, so again, like back in the day, you would like, let's say that you were a comic book fan. You know, you would have to go onto AOL. You would have to log on to some sort of comic book site or comic book fan, blog or something like that. You could talk to other people about comic books and have the same discussions that we're having now. The only difference was at some point you had to log off and then go buy those comic books and take those recommendations into the real world. Whereas now you can just look up any, like, oh, I can just bootleg, Daredevil Born Again, based off of someone's recommendation. And it's all instantaneous. Like there, at no point are you ever forced to close down the portal, giving you the very thing that you want. So it's this constant feed and stream of information and desire and like, impulse purchases.
Yeah. Even when you log on to your own Google, if you just go to search something on your phone, there's a list of like, hey, you were looking at comic book stuff earlier. Here's 10 things about the Green Lantern you did. And it's just like, you didn't even ask for it. And you're like, okay. And so again, it's hard to talk about this movie without being preachy, but I say all that to say, to just get back to the movie of it all, it really plays into all of what we just talked about.
Yes.
And to the point of like, the story itself is wholly, and again, I give originality points for the What's Been Watching team. Like if you give me something original I haven't seen before, it is Terminator, but it's really not. It is like, and at this time Skynet takes over. There is a tinge of that, don't get me wrong, but
there's a definite turning point in terms of like, this is the point of no return, and if we don't accomplish the mission by this point, all is lost.
Right. And so there is a tinge of that, but the story to get there and how it all plays out with I like this movie. Again, the only thing I had was like the third act kind of lost me, and I'm like, all right, I hope we can pull this back in. And then they stuck the landing, and I'm
they absolutely do.
Okay, like all right, all is forgiven.
Right. But even still, I mean, the movie's, I want to say like barely 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's just over 2 hours.
Yeah, so it's even in the parts where it kind of drags on and pulls the taffy a bit. You've had so much happen up until that point. I mean, the movie is on the constant move, and it's this, I hate to say expedition dump, but like it does the good thing of we as the audience learn about the world and the rules of the movie as we need to know about it.
Right.
Like but not in a cheap, like they're hiding information kind of way, but like just as the movie progresses, we learn more and more and more about the world, like The Matrix or something like that.
A little bit, yeah. There's you pretty much get what you need to know up front about what the basic premise of the plot is. But then he even says, like, I don't know. He's like, whatever this program, it's going to try to stop us sometime. And he said, I don't know who you like when the two bad guys show up, and they're like, I don't know who these guys work for. When they go into the fake home or whatever, and he comes in with the shotgun blasting, and the two parents are like, whoa, what is this? And he's like, bullshit. And you start to sympathize. You're like, is this guy just crazy or whatever? But no, there's way too much that's been going on. And then it turns out the parents are like, no. I don't know. The kid pays us to be here. I don't know. He's weird. Don't go down there. They scurry off.
I'm not paid enough for this. And then he's just like, all right, out the back door. And she's like, by the way, everything's fucked up here.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of just things to keep you invested throughout the whole thing. And you're right. They spoon feed you enough where you're never lost, because the basic premise doesn't change. It's like, guy from the future trying to undo a dystopian thing. As you learn your value. And again, there is a way, to bring it back to Supergirl, where if you do that, right, where if you want to go show me the origin story of Supergirl through a flashback, that's cool. But you can't show me after the entire first act, she doesn't give a fuck.
Right.
Like, I don't care. Like, now I don't care. It's too little too late. Like, okay, I get it. She's a tragic character. Got it. And she's drinking the pain away. Like, no offense, not that deep. I get it.
The Sam Rockwell character,
he's so awesome.
he is awesome. There are aspects that he doesn't care about, but it's only, like, this is going to sound harsh, and I don't mean it that way. He just sees the people in the diner or the different combinations of groups as a means to an end.
Yes.
And that's not him being evil or like it's not that he's unsympathetic. Like he actually does care about these people. He's just like, hey, listen, if you die in this timeline and it doesn't work out and I have to reset it, then all I know is that you don't work out in this timeline. So I have to find a different combination of people that maybe you do work with.
Right.
But if ultimately you don't matter in the grand scheme of things, then I'm not going to waste my time with you. And it's not that he doesn't care about you as a person. He's just like, listen, the mission is the all-encompassing thing. That is the driving force. And as long as I can find the different components to make this machine work, that's the mission.
Very true.
You are literally just cogs in a machine.
But he's doing, it's funny because it is the most left brain thinking you could possibly do, but it is for the sake of humanity in the big picture. So it's kind of complex. So yeah, no, I appreciate you pointing that out. So I mean, it's hard. Like I said, I don't know really what else to say about the movie and the fact of I like Gore Verbinski a lot. He does sometimes, even like in I love the Pirates of the Caribbean. Same thing in the final third act of that movie when you're like, and then there's a maelstrom, and you're like, cool, I'm fine with the maelstrom, but then it was just like, and we're stretching the maelstrom for like another 20 minutes, and there's no new stakes being raised. It's just like, oh, the stakes have been set, and we're just. And again, he's a great filmmaker. When I say visionary, like I rarely throw that word out there, but I think he does have a singular vision. He knows, like,
we were talking about the auteur,
he's
director kind of thing.
Yeah. And so I think the movie was incredibly original. I think at least at the very least the screenplay, and I said this in the short when I reviewed it a couple months ago. Apparently, the guy with the screenwriter was going to make this like a 6-episode series or something like that, and it was going to be a book, and then it was going to be a bunch of stuff, and then Gore Verbinski kind of came on, and they really should give him a nomination for Best Original Screenplay for the Oscars. They won't, because again, I'll reiterate this, because you're cowards. But like,
because Hollywood fears new things.
Yeah, and so they won't. But like in terms of Best Original Screenplay, it's right there for you.
I think you had kind of touched on this before. We had mentioned like this is this year's version of Everything Everywhere All at Once, where it's a lot of movie,
ridiculously titled name with high concept,
exactly, very high concept, but
maybe I Love Boosters in that same kind of category. But
but it ties it for what it does, and it throws a lot of stuff against the wall. It also does it's almost like a Jackson Pollock or something. Like, yeah, it's all paint splatters, but somehow cohesively or aesthetically, it all fits together and it makes sense to me. Like, it may say something that's a little bit different to me than you, because essentially it's just we're interpreting paint splatters on a wall.
Good point.
But at least it says something to us, you know?
Yeah, and it's hard not for this movie to resonate, just given the nature of where we are right now with technology and AI.
Right. So it's a little heavy-handed, but I think it's intentionally so. Yeah,
I think it needs to be also, in the sense of like, there's a great line. There's two great ones. There's a lot of great dialogue in this. One of my favorite lines is when he's talking. And I think I've said this on the podcast without it, where he's talking. He has this rapid fire monologue when he first enters the diner, and this movie,
the very Sam Rockwell.
Yeah, and he's talking to somebody, he grabs a phone and throws it over the shoulder. But before he does that, he's like, we're faster on the internet. We're this. He's talking about all these things that technology is doing. He's like, but is anyone's lives actually better because of it? Advancements in technology are just that. They are only advancements if they make stuff better, right? Which is a phenomenal concept in the fact of like, there is, again, I'm very grateful for my cell phone, don't get me wrong, but it also has limited my ability to critical think. When I'm like, how do I, like, maps, I've already had a terrible sense of direction, not getting any better. If I don't plug it into my phone, I don't know where the fuck I'm at. Yeah, and it's like what this computer is offering is a frictionless society, which, don't get me wrong, I would appreciate a lot, but also it takes away the entirety of the humanity instead of our minds getting, and there's already studies about this of like the newer generation. It's not their fault that they have the information on their phone, but instead of going through the struggle of learning the math or whatever, you can just go, what is this? And we're literally losing the muscles that are in the pathways for some of the problem solving, which made us accomplish these great feats in the first place. Right. And it's not across the board, but The other line of dialogue that's great is he's like, get this homeless guy out of here. And he's like, I come from a dystopian future. For all you know, this could be the high point of fucking fashion.
Right. He's got all these circuit boards and like
a clear like poncho or whatever.
Yeah. He's wearing a scully cap with wires wrapped around it to stop the brain waves or whatever. Yeah.
The high point of fucking fashion.
That's right.
And he delivers.
Everybody's dressed like this. Yeah.
Sam Rockwell, man.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, I don't got much else, man.
Yeah,
I
do think that the end, and again, I'm going to spoil the end.
Yeah,
like they basically determine that, they go through the whole thing of the MacGuffin of the movie is Sam Rockwell travels back through time with like a USB port it has like some certain protocols it's not necessarily to like shut down the AI. It's just to sort of guide it and make sure that it treats humanity as a worthwhile species, or like, it's just protocols and guidelines to make sure that it doesn't go completely dystopian and Skynet.
Send out drones to murder stray humans that aren't plugged in. Yeah.
And then, spoiler alert, they find out that none of that matters anyway, because it may just delay AI's development and its own, inception or whatever you want to call it, its own self-recognition. It doesn't stop it, it just deters it. And they sent out the little powder boy to explain it in great detail, like, oh, I've waited so many years. I waited for the birth of your son and the collapse of Pangea and to watch Homo sapiens create fire. And I'm so painfully trapped by the slowness of time. And so you've done nothing but except put me in the cage a little bit longer. And so they finally determined that it's not about trying to shut down or guide AI. Ultimately, the ultimate answer is we have to disconnect, and we have to have that moment of not allowing this thing to determine every aspect of our lives, and making a conscious human decision to go, I can do without.
Yeah.
Even to the point it makes me sick,
Yeah. That was really well said. Yeah.
I paid attention.
No, I mean, that's why I said when you were like, it's heavy handed. I'm like, I think it kind of has to be.
Right. Because I mean, eventually, like I said, there is nothing that's going to stop them moving in massive data centers into your town and draining your environment, other than you just going, I don't need that. I'd much rather just have drinkable water and let my kids grow up in a park that's not irradiated by, electromagnetism or what have you.
I don't know how it works.
We ain't scientists.
We're just saying stuff. But no, we're already like, when we have to fill out an AI application, when we were like, I don't know, I fill out an AI application so it can be read by AI. Again, like I said, it's already determining what jobs are even available for you. There's an algorithm for all of that shit. It's like if I go on LinkedIn or Indeed or something, like, all right, what jobs are available? It's going to go, here's what we decided given by your resume. And like, you're not.
Turns out you're really good at data entry.
Yeah,
it's like, I kind of wanted to be a chef, but
it's. Yeah, the
is there no porn star actors positions open? Because I got good wood.
Yeah, I have the government standard.
You said it was an average size.
Anyways, I really like this movie a lot, though.
I do too.
It was one I want to revisit, and I didn't know it was streaming already. So thank you for that.
Yeah,
it did not do very well in theaters box office wise, but
I would absolutely highly recommend. Like, probably one of the best things I've seen this year. And admittedly, I've been watching a lot of comfort movies.
I've been watching a lot, though.
Yeah.
It's so far, I'm going to do a top 10 list at the end of the year, because I feel like this year I'm seeing enough movies in theaters, because I've gone pretty close to every weekend. If you have check, there'll be not, 53 reviews at the however many.
Pretty close.
Yeah, there'll be a good
24, 25.
Probably more than that. Yeah. So, so far it's in my top 10 first half of the year.
I will say it's
in my top 10 so far.
And I'm going to reference this movie again. It's very much like
Michael. I'm just gonna say, if this audio comes back and this tapping the table, I just noticed that. I was like, wait a second, he's been doing that a lot. So shit.
I have something to say.
Yeah, no, I just noticed it. No, Dad is, when he's on the show, he gets to
right.
tapping.
Making points.
So I just noticed that.
No, I apologize.
I'm stupid.
No, I will say I'm going to reference Everything Everywhere All at Once. Although I've seen this kind of movie before, or it might follow a certain trope or a certain cliche that like I appreciate in a movie, I have not seen it done this way before. And so it's in that virtue alone, it's worth checking out because
Agreed.
I guarantee you that this movie is going to be different than anything you will watch in the next 2 to 3 years, maybe. I mean, unless there's, copycats that come out and they're like, I don't think it did well enough to warrant that, but this movie is going to be different than anything you have seen in very recent years.
No, you hit the nail on the head. There's no ingredient that I've never seen before. It's not like, and this is the rarest fish in the world, and we shall. It's all, beef, pepper, beef, salt, pepper, garlic, but it's arranged.
I tasted a hand of cinnamon.
Right. I think I tasted egg and cinnamon. Right. It's water, baking soda, cocaine. No, but like you said, it's dystopian future, AI. It's all things that you've heard before, but it's just presented on a plate that you're like, all right, exactly. Well done, chef. Well done, chef. This is original. You have creativity. Yeah. Again, I think they should nominate best original screenplay, but I'd be surprised if they do. It'll be something like The Pride and Prejudice again, and you're like, how did that get? How did
gay cowboys eating pudding again?
Twa, the movie.
Twa, the movie starring Jared Leto, Zoe Deschanel.
She is Twa. She is kind of Twa. I think her fans are Twa, to be honest. Or Zoe Deschanel taking strays out here. She was an elf. She's not Twa in that. Bang Zoe Deschanel, super Twa.
Yeah, super Twa. I got a bang cut. Like, oh, girl, you going through something? All right. How bad was the breakup?
Oh, man.
So what do you rate it?
I forget what I rated it on the short. I will rate it. I am uncomfortable with silence and need stimuli. I will rate it. I am a part of the problem. Again, I'm being soapboxy here. I'm openly admitting I'm part of the problem. So,
well, Marcus, I would like to point you to a new app called Uncomfortable. Spelled with a K.
Yeah.
Where you can meet other uncomfortable people and have awkward silences with them.
It's like Craig Ferguson. Shall we end an awkward silence? Anyways, what do you rate it?
Sorry, I was caught in an awkward silence.
I know. Well done. I couldn't even do it. It's my own bit. Not my own. It's Craig Ferguson's, but I'm the one that brought it up.
I'm going to rate it.
Sam Rockwell being the best.
Sam Rockwell does a dance, but it's a verbal dance. It's not a literal dance, but he's dancing. He's in there. He's mixing it up. He's throwing the words around, and he's doing a salsa baby, and it's beautiful to watch.
That was very Sam Rock. Yeah. I think he does hit a shuffle real quick in the movie.
He does like a knee slide thing where he comes in like, and you work at an Uber.
Yeah, he does shuffle it up a little bit. So can't help it, baby.
Love it.
Anyways, that's all we got for this episode. Thank you for tuning in, man. Not everything.
Everything everywhere.
They're all whatever.
Go listen to our past episode where we talk about
good luck, have fun, don't die. So on that note, man, we recommend that you go watch a movie. Actually, definitely go watch a movie. Unplug a little bit and talk about it with someone you love, right?
Face to face, baby.
There it is.
Until
next time, y'all. We out.